Hi, this is Jacob Nash with JNGL, and today we're going to be talking about the law of sines and cosines. And there's a humming noise today, so sorry about that. And this is only honors standard for geometry, so if you are taking CP, you probably don't have to know this. And this is standards 4.3 to 4.4. So, law of sines. Well, remember, sines is the sin, like S-I-N. And really, it's just what it's saying is that if you take an angle measure and you take the sine of any angle measure and you divide it by the opposite side length, so that's the one that's across from it. So, for example, across from this A is this little a, the side length. And all those will be equal. All of the sines of the angles divided by their opposite side lengths. They all will be equal. If that doesn't make sense, it will after you figure out how to do a problem like that. So, when you're using the law of sines and you want to find a side length, here is what you can do. So, what you're always going to be doing in a law of sines problem is, well, first are there two side lengths, or are there two angles and one side length given? Well, if that's true, then you can use it, and you will set up something divided by something equals something else divided by something else, and you have to figure out what to put on the top. Well, first of all, we know we're going to be taking the sine of different things, and today I can actually work out the problems because I have a actual calculator today. And so then you're taking the sine of the angle measures. So that would be 41 and 62 in this case. And below you would put the opposite side lengths. Opposite to 41 is this 7. Opposite to the 62 is this x. Now you cross multiply. And I'm going to have to erase this, so you might have to rewind it. Well, actually, if I erase it, then that's pointless. Okay, never mind. Now what I write in blue is the next step. So now we're going to do x times sine of 41 is equal to 7 times the sine of 62. Okay, and if you notice what I did, I just cross multiplied, so it's this right here times this right here. There we go. That's what you're going to do. Then after that, to get x by itself, what you have to do is divide by the sine of 41. So you end up with this equation that you have to punch into the calculator to get the final answer, and it's 7 times the sine of 62 divided by the sine of 41. And let's see what that answer would be. I'm going to punch this in. Sine 62 divided by... when you're doing this, you got to make sure you type it in right, because sometimes it can be tricky. If we're rounding to tenths, which you usually are, you would find out the length is 9.4. That's good. All right, that's what you would do if you're finding a side. When you're finding an angle, it's different. With this video, it's kind of a long one, really I'm cramming 2 standards into one video, so I doubt that I can finish this up in 15 minutes, so you may want to find the part 2 of this video, because I'm pretty sure there will be one. But you'll have to use the sine to the negative first which can be accessed by doing second sine, pushing the second button and then sine. So this time we're finding an angle, and we still plug in what we need to know. Remember, I always said that you start out with this, and then you're going to be taking the sine of something on both sides on top, and then the angle measures go here. So the angle measures are x and 21 this time, and then the opposite side lengths go on the bottom. Opposite to this x is 4, and the opposite to the 21 is 6. Once again, you can cross multiply. It would be 4 times the sine. It's pretty hard to write all this, but sine of 21 equals 6 times the sine of x. Sine of x. That is something that you can do this time. Okay. Now, what do you do? Well, here's what. Now, you want to get x by itself, but you cannot separate this sine from the x unless you do sine of negative first. But we can't do that yet. Now we need to divide by 6 to get that out of the way, because we need the 6 to go away. So now we have this equation right here. And now to get rid of this sine, remember you do sine to negative 1, you multiply that. And they would cancel out, those two. So for the final answer, you would type in this whole thing. So it is not written very exactly. Let's see, not very kind of easy to tell, but it is going to be sine negative first times 4 times the sine of 21 divided by 6. Yes. Yep. That is the answer. And the final answer for this would be, rounding to tenths once again, it would be 13.8 degrees. That is the measure of x. Now, the next one is law of cosines. You thought that was hard? Well, you're going to maybe think this one is. There's different ways you can say this, but my easiest way of thinking is this way. So, this looks like a very long formula, and it is. But what this formula is x squared. So x and a are the things that you may solve for. But in either equation, you may be able to plug in a value for x or a, and then you're going to solve for the other one. But x equals a side. So side s is going to be side, and 1 and 2 are just sides. So any side, it doesn't matter which one, because remember, if commutative property, you can do any one, commutative. And so side squared plus other side squared minus 2 times both side squares times, this is not x, it's times cosine of a. And a would be an angle. But in case you're solving for the angle, that might be what you're trying to solve for, and you can plug in x. So if that doesn't make sense, once again, you'll understand it after you figure out how to solve. So, finding a side. Alright, how are we going to do this? Well, we go back to our equation, and let's see what we're trying to do. First, we do x squared. Well, x is what we're solving for, so this time we're solving for x, and we can plug something in for the a. Now, we do the side lengths squared. The side lengths are 17 squared plus 25 squared. And then we subtract 2 times the two side lengths, which are 17 and 25. Then we multiply this all. I'll do a dot this time so you don't think that's x, times the cosine of an angle. Well, we see two angles there. How do we know which one to do? I forgot to mention that the x has to be opposite to a. Remember, that means that it's across from it. So x, what's across from it? Well, you just pretty much draw a line, and it's going to be this 47-degree angle. That 51-degree angle does not matter in this case. We don't really need to know it. If you had found out what this angle was, you could use your knowledge about triangles to figure out what that one might be. That might be something you'll have to do. So now I'm just going to make this more simple, and so I'm going to start by calculating this part. So 17 squared plus 25 squared equals 914. 914. Now I'm going to try doing this part. -2, I can do that because even though it's minus, I can do that. And then times 17 times 25, that equals -850. And we are not, okay, wait. Yes, never mind, sorry, I can't do that. Times the cosine of 47. We are going to round to tenths in this case. Cosine of 47, that is 0.7. 0.7. Now, if you know your order of operations, you know that you're not going to do 914 minus 850. By the way, x equals still is over here. You're going to do -850 times 0.7. That equals negative 595. -595. And then 914 minus still. So 914 minus 595 is 319. So we have x squared equals 319. And the final thing that we have to do is take the square root. And the square root of 319 is our answer. And that is, if we're rounding to tenths, that is 17.9. Again, if the video is about to reach 15 minutes, there's another one, so you can watch it for the last part. I may be able to get it done. That is going to be the answer. Once again, there will be cases when you need to find angles. So this time, we'll know what x is. So now x squared. And by the way, you'll have to use cosine to the negative first for this one. But what is x? Well, x is always opposite from a, so it would be this 5 right here. So we start with x squared, but we know x this time, so we can do 5 squared. Or actually, I'm going to move this up so that I have more space down here. 5 squared equals the two sides squared. That is 2 squared plus 3 squared. And then after that, we do -2 times the two sides. That is 2, and that is 3. Then you do times the cosine of a. This time we don't know the angle. We're trying to solve for it. We'll label this a as our variable that we're trying to find. Okay. Once again, I'm going to start by solving for this. So 2 squared plus 3 squared, that would give us 13. And by the way, back here, we have our 25. And then -2 times 2 times 3 equals -12. By the way, this is what I was just solving.